Everyone, Coach Michelle here. So this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about food and your thyroid. I hope you've watched my other videos and you've, read my blogs on this issue. And this part is going to be about food. Now, 90% of all Hashimoto's, which is a form of hypothyroidism, is an autoimmune disease, which means most times there's an underlying reason why it's, happening. And it's not necessarily, all right, so like mine. My Hashimoto's is just, all my thyroids are fine. I don't have the hypothyroidism yet or some of the other issues. But what my body is thinking is my thyroid is inflamed, when in all actuality, it is not inflamed. It's my gut that is inflamed. So what happens is, if you have gut issues, leaky gut, inflamed gut, things like that, what happens is, say when you eat gluten or you can eat other inflammatory foods, it leaks into the bloodstream. And gluten actually there's a protein in gluten. Once it passes through the bloodstream, it actually mimics the inflammation of a thyroid. So your body does not know the difference. So my body is assuming my thyroid is inflamed when in actuality it's not. It has to do with me eating gluten and it's causing inflammatory issues elsewhere, but the body doesn't know that. So it attacks my thyroid. And there are other foods. And that's why if you are diagnosed with, any kind of thyroid problems, and there is a little bit of debate on this. Some people say there is no diet that's going to help. But I have heard too many people say if they cut out gluten, some people need to cut out dairy. They cut out grains, different things. It actually helps them feel better because gluten can cause other symptoms. It can also cause brain fog, inflammation. So it's like you're gaining weight and different things like that. So, make sure if you're diagnosed that you either research what you need to eat or not eat or what you need to cut out. And I'm going to tell you, it's not I can eat gluten sometimes and not other times. Honestly, if gluten sensitivity or intolerance is the issue, you have to cut it out completely. Because, some people will cut it out for a few weeks and then they'll eat something. Well, introducing that gluten one time into your system can cause a reaction for 6 months of inflammation. So it's something you have to cut out all the time. And is it easy? No, it's really not. But, cutting out gluten is a little bit easier, but you have to be vigilant about checking labels and knowing the other names of gluten. It's not just always going to say gluten. It's wheat, it's flours, it's, all kinds of things are, in that gluten thing. So make sure, if you do have thyroid problems, especially autoimmune, that you talk to a nutritionist or do your research because, you could cut out gluten. Some people have a dairy intolerance. We can't process it very well. That can cause inflammation. There's certain foods like in the nightshade family that can cause inflammation as well. And, it's wreaking havoc on your gut and it's causing these other issues. So, just do your research. Talk, and I'm going to tell you, doctors, I'm not saying all doctors, but doctors are not schooled in nutrition. Most of them that I've read about, a lot of them only get like 4 hours of nutrition while they're in school. So you really need to speak to someone that is knowledgeable in the nutrition aspect of it, which is, some nutritionists, but a functional medicine doctor is more in tune and knowledgeable in that area. So that's just my tips for you. Make sure you research like what you may need to be cut out, and you may want to get testing done. There are so many people with thyroid problems because their doctors are not knowledgeable in this, so they don't give them nutrition information. But they don't know they're gluten intolerant. Now, this is totally different than celiac disease. Gluten sensitivity and celiac is two different things. However, it has been shown that if you do have an autoimmune, like the Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune, and you continue to eat the gluten because you're sensitive or intolerant, it can turn into full-blown celiac disease. So just make sure you do your research. And I'm going to have more information on my blog, so watch for that later. I will post a link to that later. And have a great evening.